welcome everyone. So we hoped that we might all be able to go on at the same time, but we had a technical issue with the timings on the link. But we're going to be putting something in the group, whether it's resources or a video or a question and answer at 7:30 every Sunday. So we hope to see you there, but we'll also be recording it. So welcome, I'm Dr. Sophie Wicks, and this is Dina.
Hello, everybody. I'm Dina Shale, and Sophie and I have created this little group, which is not a Facebook group, it's off Facebook. And in this group, we want to create resources for you. We want to do lives. We want to bring in guest speakers and people that have the same values as us, which is holistic well-being, and help people to recover from trauma through the methods that we know work for us, and through the resources that we are putting into the group. So Sophie, tell us a little bit about you and why you are going holistic and love horses.
Yes. So I'm a clinical psychologist by training. So what that means is, I had to do loads of training, but it was an undergrad psychology degree, get a few years of experience in mental health, and then did my doctoral level qualification, which was another 3 years. So what that means is that I'm trained in evidence-based therapies, assessments, formulation, which is a fancy word for saying making sense with your clients about kind of why they're struggling, where it comes from, and really just finding strategies and techniques to move forward through that. So some of the models that I work with that you've probably heard of are like cognitive behavioral therapy, but I use a whole combination of different things. So I've been working as a clinical psychologist for a few years now, between NHS and privately. And in the last 2 years, I've set up my own private practice, Luna Psychology. And I love working with people. I love seeing, people's healing journeys, using these different models. But I suppose what I've noticed is that there are a group of people who aren't even coming to therapy for lots of reasons. So maybe they are just too scared, or it's not talked about in their household, or they've got expectations of therapy which might make it feel overwhelming, or maybe they're just not ready to talk about it yet. And going into a room and talking to a stranger face to face can feel like really intimidating. I'd be anxious, and I have been anxious in my own therapy before. So there's a big group of people that are being missed who I'm not even seeing. And it just got me thinking that I want to work more outside the box. So, my training is about being kind of using your initiative and being innovative. But a lot of people really struggle to do that for lots of reasons, myself included in the past. But I just saw what you were doing online, Dina. I like to see what other kind of holistic services are doing in Lincolnshire. Saw what you've been doing with horses, and there was just something about the way that you were talking about the somatic healing and the trauma that really links with, I guess, my professional training, which is largely trauma focused and trauma informed, and thinking about how the things that have happened to us manifest in lots of different ways. Lots of the time they're mental health symptoms that we're really aware of, but sometimes it's things like physical health problems like headaches, tummy issues, muscle tension and pain, sleep problems, eating problems. Like, these are things that I commonly work with. And sometimes it's not obvious like where that's come from, or people will say I get panicked randomly, or I'm having these panic attacks, I don't understand why, or I'm having these nightmares, I don't understand why. But I suppose through my professional and personal development, it's knowing that everything makes sense when we understand what someone's been through. And it's that idea of like the body never forgets what you've been through. And that's what I really like what you're doing, where you're helping release that, and you're helping people get in touch with their brains and their bodies, which is a huge problem in the clients that I'm seeing who are traumatized. And just doing it in a way that's outside, which can feel much less intimidating. It can feel much safer, especially if you feel panicked about being inside or worried about being trapped. And for me, like, horses just feel quite sentimental. I used to horse ride when I was younger and going into my teens and loved it. It was like the thing that every week I looked forward to. And I was very, very anxious as a child because of my own kind of traumatic experiences and stresses. And horse riding was the time that I didn't feel like that. That was like my freedom. And ever since then, it's, and I've done it a few times over the years since, when I can. But it's even like smelling horses, like as you drive through the countryside or you're walking, like even the smell of horse poo is just something that feels so soothing to me because that was my safe place. Um,
Yeah.
and just I suppose something about the way horses are that they really pick up on what you're feeling, so you had to try and ground yourself and regulate yourself. I mean, these are the words that now I understand, but at the time I just knew I had to be calm so the horse was calm. As an adult with my training, I know that I had to regulate so that the horse would let me ride them, so that we could work as a team. And I just think that really, really helped me, and it's helped me since. So it was all of those things coming together, really. And even the clients that I do see for formal therapy, the one-to-one in a room therapy, if we put it like that, there's just something that I feel can be missing that words can't fill. Sometimes there are those gaps where there isn't a technique that I can offer, because actually it's more than talking. It's really the feeling, it's the body processing, it's the body releasing. And that's the
Mm.
bit that I think is missing in traditional therapies. Um, so,
You said that this last week, though, didn't you? When we did our
yes,
workshop last week, you said that. You said, of all this training that I've had, it's the piece that this piece is the piece that's missing. And actually, our client said that as well, didn't they?
yeah, yeah, that was the really lovely feedback about, people have been through, tried maybe quite a few different things like therapy, counseling, groups, and yeah, and it was like, this is kind of part of that jigsaw puzzle, it's part of that piece. So that's why I feel so excited about this, because what we're doing is rooted in science, and that's,
Mm.
my training is a lot about obviously psychology, but it's biology, it's like neurology, neuropsychology, it's lots of things, and it is rooted in all of those theories. It is rooted in science. It is evidence based, but the package that we're putting together isn't evidence based, in that it's not widely recognized. And so we're just trying to do something different and demonstrate why it does need to be published as an evidence base. Um, you know, Animal therapy is, there's lots of research about that being helpful. There's lots of research about soothing the body to recover from trauma, anxiety, depression. There's lots of research about how PTSD manifests. And yet, nobody's put all of this together as, a special package of care. And that's what we're starting now. And as of last week, we did our
Yay.
first workshop, which was fantastic and got loads of great feedback from our clients. Got lots of emails from people who wish they could have come but missed out for various reasons.
Yeah.
So yeah, we just like to kind of, in using this Healing Rain group, we just want to share some of what we're passionate about, put a face to a
Yeah.
name. Hopefully you can see that, we're nice. Um, and
And we're human as well. I think people
absolutely.
see themselves see sometimes when you're a doctor, sometimes you can be a little bit emotionless. And obviously, part of my reason for wanting to work with you was that you're outside the box. You're not that sort of emotionless doctor. I love the fact that you're outside the box and you want to find that missing piece in your work. And for me, like bringing the science in as well in my work is great as well, because it brings that accreditation, I guess, to equine therapy, but also to the somatic work. Although, somatic experiencing was discovered by Dr. Peter Levine in 1984, I think it is. You also have the work of Bessel van der Kolk, which is The Body Keeps
Oh,
Score.
love that.
Um, and there's Gabor Mate as well. So the work that the three of those have done is integrated into the somatic experiencing. And for me, you know, it just is everything. I'm graduating this week, by the way. So excited about
Yay!
that. um, and I'm really excited that we're bringing these two modalities together, because in Lincolnshire, it's everybody's very behind in their therapeutic intervention, you know, how they see therapy. And for me, this piece comes together lovely. And I think the fact that you have come, you know, to me and said, I love what you do, is I just love it. I just think it gives me great confidence, because I know I've got something really special that you know is really helping people in the community and very different. And you're obviously seeing that that's the piece that, you know, comes together with your work as well. So for me, going forward, it's amazingly exciting. And we're obviously going to be helping people in the group each week. So we want to make sure that people see this post. We want people to know that we're going to come online. We're going to do some free lives in the group each week, and that will be 7:30 till 8, which is only half an hour. But there'll be other things that people can do in the group as well, like there's free resources that we're going to give people. There's already some in there now. You're going to add some in as well. And in there as well, we're going to be doing some workshops as well, which people can buy at low cost. And because there was lots of people that wanted to come on the workshop last weekend but couldn't afford the full day, so we're going to be putting some pieces together that people can start off really, you know, low cost, that will really help them, and then they can move their way through some courses that we are going to be developing over the winter, really,
Mhm.
putting things together, bringing the science behind it, because I love to know it's, you know, it's not woo woo, it's science. But I am very spiritual as well, because you have to be aware of energy and aware of how the horses work. So I love that part too. So we've got a great combination of everything for everybody, I think, which is really
Absolutely.
exciting. So
So how did you, Dina, come to combine your love for horses and your somatic training? What's your journey?
oh gosh, so had a pony when I was very, very young, when I was about 7 or 8. Had a horse called Black Beauty, and I had her till I was about 11 or 12. But during that time was a very difficult time for me of abuse, and I used the horse to be able to overcome those challenges. And then, as the house was sold, where the land was, where the horse was, my parents split up. I yearned for something. There was something that my soul was feeling that it needed, connection wise. I felt like there was something else, the piece that was missing. And so I got to about like late 20s and early 30s, and my daughter started to horse ride, and I took her when she was 4 to this riding centre, and that was it. That was like, oh my God, I can smell it. I can smell the poo. I can smell the horse. Oh, I need this in my life again. And so, oh, within no time, we'd bought these 2 horses. Well, I bought one horse to begin with, and then a little bit later on, I bought another one. I bought one for Georgie and one for me, and I went on a bit of a healing journey and a bit of a learning journey about fight and flight, funnily enough, about horse, learning about Harley, which was the horse that I bought, a youngster that would go into flight. He was a flight animal, and he used to bolt. So I had to do a lot of learning, and I sort of went on a learning journey with him, learning about natural horsemanship, learning through some of the American gurus that are cowboys, and also some people in Australia as well. There was some natural horsemen in Australia that I followed. So I spent probably about 8 years really learning more about natural horsemanship, because I wanted to be nice and um, calm with horses. I wanted to be kind. I didn't want to go down the route of being aggressive, or, you know, beating the horse until it, you know, it submitted. I wanted to have a really amazing bond with my horse in the same way I did when I was a child with Beauty. And so I got to about 38, and unfortunately my marriage then failed, and I had to stop learning, went back to work full time to support my family. And I still had this yearning to get back into horses. But at this particular time, I was going through a lot of trauma. And a long story short, I came across a course, an equine facilitated learning course that was down in Somerset. And I remember saying, I really want to do that. I really, really want to do this course. And back in my 30s, I read a book by a lady called Linda Kohanov, who had a healing journey with a horse. And the book was called The Tale of Equus. Difficult book to read, not particularly easy. But the gist of it was that she went on this healing journey with her horse. And I thought, oh my God, I want to go and work with this lady. This is me. And so it took me till I was in my 40s actually to go and meet her, but I eventually did go and meet her, and she it was her mythology, her structure, her framework that I went to learn. I learned some of it in the UK, and then I also went to see her. So we're actually coming up to our 10th anniversary for the Way of the Horse, which is really exciting. I think it's the 16th, which is tomorrow actually. So it's really,
Congratulations.
thank you. So it's really exciting that we've got to the 10 year stage. And in that 10 years, I've been to America, I've trained in this country, I've been to the Pyrenees and worked with a lady in the mountains that worked with the prisoners, the men, the males, because they were very angry. Learned lots and lots about the fight, flight, and freeze with Marta. And that was a journey in itself, because it was really, really in the middle of nowhere, and I was right in the top of this mountain, and we were like a mile into the Pyrenees, like through all these rocky roads and sheer drops to get to the place that we stayed. I'm glad I took Derek with me. And then because he drove, and then it was like, it was in the middle of nowhere where she lived, but it was great to go and do that. So I trained with Marta, and then I discovered the somatic experiencing in 2020, and that just really took me on a different level. And beyond this, now after this graduation, I still want to learn more. Unfortunately, I do have a brain for learning, and I'm really interested in pre and perinatal trauma. And there's also a spiritual element as well to somatic experiencing, because it really is taking you into your body, getting you deep into your body, of learning about your sensations and your feelings, and the things that were missed during the trauma response. So obviously, in the group, I want to share more about how somatic experiencing works and how it can help people, because I think, especially in Lincolnshire, people haven't heard of it. So for me, I feel like I'm one person, trying to be heard. But somatic experiencing is all over the world. It's huge in America. People are now not going to doctors, they're now going to somatic experiencing practitioners when they've had traumatic events, massive traumatic events, because it's just grown so much over there. And there's a lot of people in Europe as well, lots of people in the UK, but more so in America. It's grown because obviously Peter was from America. But every time they do the cohorts of training, there's 50 people on each cohort each year. So and they're growing as a company as well. So it's really exciting actually to be part of that. And I'll get my certificate probably towards the end of the week, beginning of next. So
Yay.
yay.
Amazing. And you touched on this, and I think I did as well, but the other thing that we're bringing is, which again I think is rare. I mean, in clinical psychology it's certainly rare, because we do a lot about boundaries with clients, which is really important. But I think people, and again I think this is part of British culture, isn't it, like the stiff upper lip, you crack on with it. But I certainly am.
Push it under the carpet. You know,
Yeah,
lots of older generations are push it under the carpet, don't speak about that, push it under the carpet. I know that was the
100%.
same with my family anyway. It was don't speak about your trauma, don't get saying anything. And there's always the yin and the yang, isn't there, for should you, shouldn't you?
Yes. Yes. And the way that I work is very relationally. So with the person in the room, it's thinking about, what dynamics are playing out between us and commenting on that, which, some people don't like, that feels like too open. But something that I am passionate about people being open with, if they're able to, is about lived experience. Because as you said, it's this assumption that if you're a professional, that you've always got it together and you've never had a problem, and you can't be mentally unwell. Whereas yes, of course, like,
Of
what
course
even
you
is that?
can.
And it's not groups of well and unwell, it's that continuum. And when I meet with people, this is what I say, that right now it might be that you feel here and you think I'm here, but I have been down here, and it's helping you
Yeah.
feel like you can get back up here again. Because I have had my own experiences, as have you, with trauma, with that manifesting in lots of ways, through as a child and as an adult. And for a long, long time, I've had lots of different types of therapy, which has been great, has really helped. But for a long time, if someone had said, Sophie, what is it that's causing this? I don't think I would have known. Like, I was so out of touch with my
Mm.
experiences. I'd repressed things. I just couldn't access that. I didn't have like the reflective capacity or insight to know. But I just needed someone to say, here's the space to, we don't have to talk about it or name it, but here's the space to actually just feel it and let it out. And that's actually what I think that would have really, really helped as a young person and as an adult. I think that would have helped me move forwards on my journey much quicker.
Yeah.
And there's work to do all the time for all of us, isn't there? For me, when I was at the workshop last week, as I shared with the people who came, I was feeling a bit anxious. It was something new. It was meeting lots of new people. It was you and I working together. But when I came to the workshop last week, I noticed that I was feeling anxious for a number of reasons. And then it's using the skills that I already know, but also tapping into those soothing systems that I guess haven't been accessed for a long time. For example, being around horses, being in the countryside, those things that really help me regulate my nervous system. And it was good for me to be like, yes, keep practicing, what you preach, which I do. I never ask clients to do something I wouldn't do myself or haven't done myself.
Yeah.
So yeah, I suppose my overall point was, it's not that we are in a separate category to anyone watching this or coming, because we have been there, and some days we might still be there. But what we have got is
Mm.
the learning, the professional development, the personal development. We know what really helps our clients, we know what's helped us, and we just really want to share that with people, and give all these tools for your toolkit, and you can select which ones work best for you.
And I think what I loved about you was that you aren't just educated through books and college and universities. You are human. And that's what I really loved about you, because you've got the reason why you do what you do, and you've had your own experiences too. And not everybody that I've come across in the past has had that. And
No.
that gives you that self-compassion, that gives you that real passion to help people, and the self-compassion to understand people's journeys and turmoils. And I think that is like really powerful when it comes to helping other people. I think it's just a really great value to have in somebody when they've had those experiences, because you know that it's not the root is not the root, the solution isn't always the same for everybody.
No.
And sometimes we have to think outside of the box doing that. And it's just so nice to have somebody on board that is, you are so down to earth and so normal, and because you've done your education, it you're not any different to anybody else. You don't see yourself up here and we're down here if we haven't done those types of things in education. But that's what I really liked, that anybody that works with you would see you as being on the same level as them, and that is really important
Oh,
because
thank you. And I
people,
really hope so. I really hope that's what people experience, because I suppose I always come back to, if my therapist had been, what, whatever word we want to think of, snobby about certain approaches, or not as compassionate to how hard healing and recovery is, and that you've got to meet people where they're at, like regardless of
yeah,
the theory and the manual. It's like, no, like, you just need to be flexible to the person. I know that I wouldn't have been able to connect with that therapist. So that's why, when people, and I do come across people who, the vast majority of professionals, um a lot of professionals do want to think outside the box and work outside the box. But the people who turn their nose up, I'm like, but have you had it though? Like, have you tried it? Have you had a healing journey where the more obvious types of approaches haven't worked? And those people normally haven't. They haven't had
mm,
their own personal experiences of that. They haven't gone to their own therapy. And that's where I think it's really important to link the theory to the actual practice. And one of the, some of the psychology buzzwords are, there's evidence-based practice, which is what I'm trained in, but there's this practice-based evidence, because it's, where does the evidence base come from? Well, it comes from people saying, I tried this the other day and it really worked. Oh, I'm noticing this group of people don't respond well to
mm,
this, but they do respond well to this. And then you start gathering the data, the outcomes, the experiments, whatever it is. So this is where the practice-based evidence is really important, because anecdotally we can see what impact it's having on people, that the collaboration and the work and the approaches that we're doing,
yeah,
and we really want to be kind of leading the way with getting the data so that that's recognized.
yeah, yeah. That's really important, isn't it? And I really like that, to get the data together, because then that is the basis of people knowing that what we are going to do is going to be life changing for them. Because
Absolutely.
you've got everything here in this combination between me and you. We've got everything that is what if you do something and I don't do that, or if I do that and you do that, then people can make a choice of, I'll do this or that one, and then this solution or that solution, and then that way we've got something that everybody will have, that really gives them what they need, what
Yes.
they feel is right for them. And I think that's great. But so yeah, really exciting. So we're going to be meeting everybody on Sundays at 7:30 for just this small amount of time. And everybody just needs to really be interacting in the group, and we need to create.
Rabbit.
No, she's not. She's done something else now. She's now climbing in the kitchen somewhere and causing carnage. Can you not hear the banging?
she's
She
she's
doesn't
feeling
normally come in
wild
the kitchen.
tonight.
She's feeling very well tonight. She's been up on the top of my dining room table, on the top of the printer while I've been talking to you. So anyway, thank you, Sophie. It has been carnage here tonight, but do you know what? Who cares? It is part of life. And we were talking about stress and anxiety, and my stress went through the roof when she brought in a rabbit. So it's just life, isn't it? It's just part of life. And I hope people have enjoyed this anyway. And yeah, so we're going to be putting together lots of resources for people, putting it in the group, and then we want to get out there and really help people with their healing journey, and shout about what we're doing as well.
Yes, because we know that we need to nail down the date, but we're certainly going to be doing another workshop this summer. Take
Yes,
advantage of the nice weather.
nice weather.
But we've got lots of other things online and in lots of different ways that we're offering people as well. So,
Yeah.
and this will be the quickest way that you get to know what we're doing. So what we're planning, what we're doing, because we're keeping the groups small for our face-to-face workshop, so we can give everyone the attention they need. People can get to know the horses, it feels safer. So you want to make sure you don't miss out on a place if that's something that you're interested in. So being part of this group and interacting is how you're going to get those notifications first.
Yeah, it's really interesting because yesterday I did my equisound and I spoke to one of the ladies that came across you and me through her psychologist, actually. So it just shows how this work like spreads and how people are starting to hear about the work that we're doing because it's so unique. And yeah, and especially bringing in the horses into that is so exciting, I think. We had a great time and the weather stayed dry for us, so it was, it was amazing. I asked it to stay dry till 3, and then on the dot at 3 it rained when we finished, so we got the round up and, and finished the workshop. So I'm just really excited, Soph, because I think we've got so much to give people, and it's a very unique partnership, but I think we're going to really come together, and we're going to try and get out and do some talks as well, aren't
Hmm.
we? We can do those
Yes,
sort of things in the winter, get out, do some talks, some conferences, get out on some stages and do some talking. And I think that's really exciting.
absolutely.
So thank you for coming on here tonight and giving me your time, Sophie. I know that everybody wasn't really sure about whether it was 7:30 or 8:30 tonight, but it doesn't matter. We've been on, we've done our talk. We're going to put this in the group. I'm just going to check and run it through and make sure there's not too much screaming with the cat coming in and out with the rabbit. However, I will definitely put it into the group and hope that everybody enjoys watching it. So right, we will see everybody next Sunday at 7:30, Sophie.
Yes, see you next Sunday, everyone.
See you next Sunday, everyone.
Bye.